What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 3 of my Total War Warhammer 3 Bhashiva the White Tiger Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, Bhashiva the White Tiger and her tiger warriors took on the ogres of the Mountain Eaters, destroying the faction in a massive battle at Yeti Peak. The ogres lived by the maw and were devoured in turn by the tigers, who then moved towards Karak Vrag. However, a unseen hand turned an errant Khornate army to their purposes, sending the foolish Khornates to try to take us on, but having them fail in just as much as the ogres did, and positioning Bhashiva to be within striking distance of Grimgore Ironhide and Karak Vrag. In that light, then, we will probably attempt to declare war on him right now. I did want to push southward towards Goldtooth, who admittedly isn't so far, but with Grimgore so close and perhaps an ambush possible, then we should probably try this. At least I think. Anyway, let's see what we've got to do, since this is more or less a new turn. We were going to upgrade the peasant stables, so that hasn't changed, and we got to keep going for the additional growth as much as possible to try to get all of these buildings up to tier 3. Next up, armies of Shangyang. Oh wow, it's 500 to get the next army capacity. Yeah, we should probably unlock the next army capacity like so. I'm gonna keep an eye on what other units we may want to... There's a magistrate with a massive 75 experience or character experience gain, which is quite nice, I gotta say. Try to get them leveling quicker. It's not like we really care about the buffs on the magistrates, because they're not going to be good fighters anyway. The other option would be to grab a dragon-blooded Shogungan, which would come with a which would effectively be a caster. Ooh, bureaucrat gives us construction cost -10. I wonder if this would actually pay for you. That's a question. It's certainly something to think about, and I just want to take a look at what other things we have. You have tacticians, stand your ground, melee defense plus 24. That's pretty darn, well, solid. And anything else interesting? Distinguishing scar, martial artist. Honestly, I prefer lettered. Just the fast leveling. I'm kind of tempted to go for the Lord Magistrate, also because I do want to get some artillery going, and I think that you'd make a good artillery lord. Plus we need to transfer some of the crossbows to somebody, and you'd probably be a good lord for it as well. Alright, fair enough. Although, again, I am just tempted to grab the bureaucrat. Actually, out of curiosity, wait, 482. Alright, if we grab the dragon-blooded Shogungan, the bureaucrat one, rather than one that buffs the... Oh, but I am tempted by the trained as well. I'm just wondering if it would be worth to have a lord that just reduces construction costs. 10%, eh? You'd need to build 3,000... You'd need to spend 3,000 gold on just buildings per turn in order for you to pay for yourself, and I'm not entirely sure that we could do that. Even bouncing between two provinces, 3,000 gold to get that 10% seems unlikely to me, and therefore you are probably not worth it, and therefore we will go for the lettered magistrate. Wait. I always forget, does it matter whether the magistrate is yin or yang? I don't know. Well, let's try. Just try and find out. But what do we have here? So you have the tactician. Grand tactician gets that reload skill and melee defense, which is quite nice. And all this Vanguard deployment for the entire army. Wait, does that thusly mean that... Maybe you wouldn't be quite as useful for an artillery army, but I still think you probably would. That's what we're going with now, and then we'll see. Get cheap peasants in your army if we want it. Not Jade Warriors, but all good. I can also keep an eye on these guys and see what we have to see, and then pay attention to the Dragon-Blooded Shogungan and the Celestial General Lords. Again, I do like this strategist one as well. It also seems that this sub-faction has no supply lines to speak of, which probably means we could get some benefit out of... we could get some benefit out of getting a few early lords and leveling them while we move them with Bhashiva. Anyway, you will encamp, or actually no, you will channel. Actually, no, what, uncamp? The 5 mana won't make much of a difference. And let's see if we can't bait Grimgore into attacking us here. Declare war. Like so. We have the ambush set up. We should probably level the Claw Speaker, and we were going to get Hunter Mystic for that Vigor loss reduction for all the Tigermen units. You sit here. And I guess we could get a couple more peasant units. Though frankly, once again, it feels like it's not really worth it to go for the peasant long spears over the Jade Warriors. Granted, they are more expensive, but they're also significantly better, and we can give them insignia, which we can't do for the peasants, which makes peasants a lot less worthwhile. Anyway, let's skip the rest of this. Let's end it. Wait. Diplomacy. New trade agreements? Yes. Eastern River Lords.
Agreed.
Oh, they're fighting the lizards. Okay, that's not great, but I should have hesitated a little bit more there, but oh well, too late. Let's see if Grimgore chooses to hesitate, or whether he attempts to go after Gandari.
Speak fast.
Zeta and the Black will... Huh. Alright, well, it looks like we just got ourselves a war here. Maybe I jumped the gun on attacking Grimgore, but, well, what can you do? Speaking of Grimgore, the ambush has failed, but it looks like he chooses to attack us anyway, giving us a Pyrrhic victory and what will inevitably be a great fight, I'm sure. Let's take on Grimgore, see what we can do.
Make me proud, brothers and sisters. Remind these wretches of our strength.
Alrighty, here we go. Let's see if we can't remind, I guess, these wretches of our strength, though I'm not entirely sure whether it says reminder as yet, because, well, it's not like we fought Grimgore. And speaking of Grimgore, he has not reached his rank 12, his unique line yet, depending on if the AI actually gets it. But the important thing is he is not unbreakable, so usually it takes a whole lot of effort to bring Grimgore down, but if he's not unbreakable, we can break his army instead, while more or less leaving him alone. It's not like Bhashiva at level 10, especially with having buffed her army, is going to be able to fight on par with Grimgore. That said, in terms of terrain, we have a pretty good location here, this boxy little area over on this side of the map, with all of this cliffside, but more importantly, this little natural choke point with all of our flanks being protected. Now, while the best use of that would be just to sit there immediately, unfortunately, the enemy does have a Doomdiver catapult, which they will smartly use to immediately target our Celestial Dragon Guard. I was hoping to move the ladder into the tree line to avoid fire from those Doomdivers, but unfortunately, the enemy was shadowing us a little bit with the boar points. This unit always makes me laugh. With the shadowing us a bit with the boar boys, and we probably can't afford to take a charge. So, we will deal with this a little bit differently. And Bhashiva is going to herself in her stalking mode, because I think she's the only stalking unit we currently as yet have. Eventually, we will be able to get stalk on all of our Tiger units, and that'll make it a lot better to do things like this. But for now, since Bhashiva is the only one, we're going to send her around to see if she can't assassinate that Doomdiver crew, while irritating Grimgore with our own, not quite artillery, but with our magics in the form of the Flocks of Doom until they move towards us. We are also waiting for the reinforcements to arrive on field, and rather now that they are here, for them to join the rest of our army. Alrighty, does look like the accuracy of the Doomdivers leaves something to be desired. There we go. Well, somebody actually got killed by that. But anyway, imagine just being one of these Celestial Dragon Guard and a bunch of goblins just keep smashing into the ground right in front of you with no explanation. I just find the scene very entertaining. Anyway, we've got that choke point locked up now, and while we are waiting with 4 Tiger Warriors and both of our Ogre mercenaries over on the left flank, it seems unfortunately that since our reinforcements have come from this way, the enemy is moving to intercept them, and thus we'll find our piles of mercenaries, forcing them rather quickly into the fight. So there are 2 units of Biggins heading towards us. We'll see how well their twin blades will meet the twin axes of the Tiger Warriors, together with the Ogre Bulls backing them up. Ooh, I do like the sort of play of light and shadow that we've got going on with this particular tree line, as it's kind of reminding me of a tiger's stripes. Very nice. Alrighty, well, these guys are going to be engaged for a while. The main line is about to clash as well. The Boar Boys and the Squig Herds will lead, smashing into the Jade Warriors and the Celestial Dragon Guard. But by the looks of it, and we should be able to hold off the enemy units charging us reasonably quickly. Unfortunately, Bhashiva, who has been attacking the Doomdiver Catapult, was taking way too long to actually deal with it, and while she was attacking the crew, the Empress Crowmen have arrived, and they should tear those poor little gobs to shreds in short order. Also love these things' color scheme, they look great. Anyway, and Bhashiva's done there, but we have still got a major fight happening over on the flanks while we hold the main line against Grimgore. Well, maybe not Grimgore himself. While he leads over there, we are ignoring him, as I said. The Tigermen continue their fight against the Biggins, but with the support of the Ogres, the Biggins are falling. Not so much perhaps the Black Orcs, which have arrived as well, and Unstoppable Choppas activates to make him hit a fair bit harder. And I'm willing to bet even harder than that once Grimgore pops off his Grimgore Zoa. In the meantime, our Claw Speakers stays right behind our lines. Technically speaking, these guys can fight decently well. There's the wall we were talking about, but I'd rather keep him out of the main line so that Grimgore doesn't kill him. And I think is there a Black Orc Big Boss or a Goblin Big Boss in here somewhere as well? Let's not risk the caster, whereas we can just keep dropping Flocks of Doom and Visen's Wild Form on the main line. And speaking of the main line and heroes, Bhashiva has arrived to smash into the enemy backliners, now cutting through at least one of the pump wagons she was targeting, and then moving to start mincing those infantry. Or those infantry that she can get her Katara, I believe the game calls those weapons of hers on. Or the Blades of Xiangyang, to be specific, but anyway. Grimgore has engaged one of our Jade Warriors, but that's fine. He can mince infantry, but without the Blood-Forged armor, he's rather slow at it, since he doesn't have an explosion to rely upon, and we'll just let him slowly cut down the occasional Jade Warrior. In the meantime, the Black Orcs have been surrounded and destroyed over on the left flank, and with them fleeing and the main line collapsing, it looks like Grimgore will flee as well, with about 90% or maybe 85% of his HP. He'll take a few arrows, but perhaps there isn't a good reason to actually bring him down, as if we get him again, I don't know why I zoomed out here, I just felt like it, I guess. If we go after him again, we will be able to hopefully pick up a double defeat trait from him. But anyway, let's see if we can. In the meantime, it was a rather nice fight. Alright, there we go. We may not have been able to pull off the ambush, but it may as well have been one, as we were able to use full advantage of our Tigermen and destroy the enemy on the flanks before looping around while the Jade Warriors held ground in a narrow sort of canyon or between impassable terrain. It worked out well is what I'm getting at. Decent work out of the Empress Crowman, as Bhashiva turned to be way too slow at mincing the Doomdiver crews, so I guess we just left the Empress Crowman to help out, so it was a good decision to get them on field. Anyway, we got a little bit of replenishment. I don't think we'll need it though. And again, 8% is not enough to probably warrant it. This was, yeah, let's take the money. Keep on taking that money. Alright, Ian Grimgore. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. He's gonna back up past Karak Vrag? I was hoping that he would actually move. Oh, whatever. Also, what does Hide Striker do in vanilla? A little bit of armor piercing damage. Yeah, not bad. Considering these lords aren't too heavily armored, they could need it. We could get more Tiger Warriors for the Sawai or some Jade Warrior crossbows. This army does lack a little bit in the way of range, and much as I'd like the additional Tiger Warriors, I think this time we need the range units more. Lost Rangers. Ambush foiled, yeah, I got that game, thanks though. Trickster's Shard, Hide Striker, Administrative Subsidies, very good, subsidies rather. Construction cost for province capitals is going to be nice, and hello. We read this last time, is Taoyan on field? No, capture 650 battle captives. Or is she on field? I guess we'll find out. Anyway, Taoyan, a hated name amongst the dragon's armies, has been sighted nearby. The one known as the Merciless is infamous for having taken an unspeakably ruthless approach against the rebelling children of Yin Shui, which saw her fall foul of the Imperial commanders serving alongside her. Despite fulfilling her duty, Taoyan was ultimately exiled not only from Grand Cathay's military ruling class, but from the central provinces entirely. The trident-punctured bodies of notable enemy agents appearing of late back up your scouts' reports that Taoyan is on an intelligence-gathering operation in the region. Her reputation for getting results tells you it may be beneficial to put aside any other preconceptions of her and join forces. Thus, gathering intelligence of our own may lead us to her, or if we gather the right intelligence, lead her to us. All things in balance, construct 3 harmony buildings, mission successful, and this 650 out of 650, but I assume it'll have to wait until the next turn is done. Alright, fair enough. Fair enough. There's a little army here from Nash, and these guys are probably moving towards us. I don't see a little encampment thing. Oh, if only we had an extra hero to send that way to actually see what's going on. We could attempt to break through Karak Vrag, but we don't have siege. Oh, actually, Bhashiva does have siege attacker. Oh, speaking of Bhashiva. Desert Tigress. Wound recovery time I don't care about. Ferocious ambush cooldown to Bhashiva herself and replenishes campaign movement range after winning a battle. This will certainly help. The thing we get first is head of the Tiger Court, maximum number of active caravans +1, and the allied recruitment unit capacity is nice as well. Physical resistance for all Tiger Warriors and physical resistance for Bhashiva herself, plus the fear causing. Leadership when fighting chaos is great, and the casualties captured, funnily enough, would have helped for completing the mission that we just completed. Hidden Huntress gives her unspottable, as well as a pretty significant Lord Hex. This will help us out in, well, killing things like Grimgore, and the additional ambush success chance and stalking chance, I'm sure, will help us out tremendously as well. We could, in fact, attempt to switch to stalking stance and try to kill off Nash rather than go immediately for Vrag. This is building the Shiny Pit and the Gloom Hollows, neither of which will increase the sort of military capabilities here. Let's just see in a moment, though. Litany of the Winds gives us spell intensity, and, you know, let's just get Leader of Ceremonies for the control, growth, and corruption, especially if we're going to be soon headed into corrupted territories. Also you. Grab Unyielding, please. Alright, next up, we should in theory grab the Tribal Enclave, but let's wait the turn until the Peasant Stables is up and running, though in 3 turns we will lose the control +6, unfortunately. For now, though, build the White Tiger Shrine for the immediate additional growth, as it's probably not worth waiting to save the money on this. How are we doing down here? I don't see raiding, so these guys are still alive. At least for now. And these guys are still alive as well, also at least for now. Alright, next up we will want to get a caravan up and running, a new caravan. And Abhishek, you are still damaged, but I think not so damaged that we can't move you again. I'm almost tempted to send him to Karak a second time. Wait, oh wait, no. You... active caravans reserve... Oh, do we have to... Huh. Journey time 5, journey time 3. Oh, because it was already selected. Okay, I'm just being dumb. Get used to it. We could send you to new places. Castle Drakenhof is a good option as well. If it gives us the same sort of... gives us the same sort of replenishment to the /the hunger item. Although it wouldn't be applicable on Bhashiva since she's not a caster, it might be a decent place to go immediately. I assume it'll also give up... Huh, does it give us a Vargulf? What does this do? I guess we're about to find out. The other option would be to send you all the long way to Marienburg to pick up that relic. But I think maybe we'll do that with another caravan than this one, since it's somewhat damaged at this point. I'm sure that they could reach it, though. How many turns would this take? Journey time 9 turns. A fairly long time. Oh, you'd pass through Kislev, though, wouldn't you? Oh, I do kind of like that. You know what? You're gonna give it a try. Try not dying. That would also be swell. Alright, you gotta spend gold to make gold, so make for Marienburg with the cash in tow. Dispatch. Good luck to you. And we gotta make sure that you don't get killed by Grimgore while you move, also, because that would be, you know, bad. TM. Alright, anything else we need to do? New tech to select, that's going to be Alchemic Mortar to get that construction cost reduction for the... Yeah, some good stuff in here. But anyway, for the infrastructure buildings, since we're primarily building infrastructure for now. Titan's Notch / Yeti Peak. We will start by going for the Tribal Holdfast here. And I believe that is it unless we get any new agreements of any kind. Drippin' Fangs are probably just afraid to die because they're on the way out. Celestial Loyalists are willing to be confederate. Ooh. Wait, do you hold Wei Jin? If they hold Wei Jin, which has a landmark, this would be a good idea, minus the massive confederation debuff. But if they do hold Wei Jin, it's a good idea to pick up the landmark. Do it. I'm gonna hope I don't regret this. Alright, we do hold Wei Jin. The -8 is going to... or -4. Okay, it's not as bad, but... still bad, but not as bad. This gives us control +2 faction-wide at tier 5, income from all buildings faction-wide, upkeep reduction for... well, frankly, this one doesn't matter too much since we won't have too many of these units, and growth faction-wide. Needless to say, it's a very nice location. Don't collect the... well, actually, you know what? Wait. Considering our proximity to Chaos and the Dark Elves, most likely the place will get attacked, meaning we will most likely need defenders. 2 Tiger Warriors, 2 Jade Warrior crossbow, 1 Jade Warrior crossbow versus 2 Jade Warrior crossbows and Stalkers. I gotta go with this one. More range units on the defense. Really only 1 crossbow at this stage? Yeah. We're gonna go with this. On this, I guess we will keep for now. I think... wait, do we actually delete... oh, we're gonna need a new lord here, aren't we? Go figure. Alrighty, maybe a self-sufficient caster. Again, I don't dislike the idea of having one of these bureaucrats. We could have one just to sort of defend and increase the taxes. And eventually maybe delete them. Yeah, you know what? Maybe that's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea after all. Even if they don't quite pay for themselves, it'll at least help somewhat. Let's go armies of Xiangyang. Increase army capacity by 1. I like so. Then, we will get the bureaucrat temporarily. Temporarily, most likely because we won't conquer too much territory here. Ooh, wait. Fuchao is also a good place to... damn it. Qingpo gives us... I don't really care so much about the Astromasters in this particular campaign. Actually, it would be nice if we could keep the Great Bastion from falling and then these guys are, you know, alive. That wouldn't be too bad. Oh, let's just say. If we do that, though, then the bureaucrat won't be worth it. We'd need somebody who can actually fight. Although I would prefer Lure of Yang earlier because Wall of Wind and Fire is a cheap and really good spell for what it does, whereas here I'm not a big fan of Blossom Wind. I do like Ancestral Warriors and Talons of Night is great, but we have to, you know, sort of take a long time to get to it. Which is kind of iffy. Frankly, we need both either way. Damn it, alright, fine. We'll go for this one for now. And... oh, Miao Ying is here. Good for you, Miao Ying. Alrighty, what else can we do? Here we have the growth building, and frankly our growth is rather slow. I am going to say... oh, we have the money and the research building here, eh? This gives us a reduction in control as well, so in theory we'd probably benefit from converting this, but also we'll probably need walls here. What are our walls in minor settlements like? I mean, they're okay. You might be able to defend this. There's rats here in Mingzhu, I imagine. Alright, fine. Hold on to this. We'll switch to Fortune's Offerings. A little bit less money. But hopefully worth it. And then we'll take this out, yes, at the cost of the growth, and build the defenses. Yeah. We just need the money right now. And then I guess we'll build the defenses here as well. This we will hold off on. Now, do you buff anybody? I assume you buff Longmaw Riders? Bound spells, or just because you're a caster you buff nobody? Okay. Well then. That's fine. That's fine. You just sit there. And don't go crazy on anything. And we'll want to build the Tiger Warrior building here as well, maybe, rather than the Warden Arsenal, because this might be a better place to build it instead. I'll go for the Spice Trading Post. And frankly, you know what? I'm almost tempted to get rid of the Jade Muster here, but we might want some of the basic units available soon. We'll have to forego the control thing, and yeah, this Confederation is gonna be bad for our control, but at the same time, once again, I really like those landmarks, so we have to prioritize on occasion. Anyway, Bhashiva, go into stalking stance, try to immediately kill Nash. You won't be able to move past him anyway. So if this works, you would be able to reinforce. Yeah, alright, let's do this. I don't know if this will work too well, but who knows? Give it a shot. Alright, ooh, they do have another army out here. I hadn't considered that, and that didn't work either. Darn. Well, I had to try it. Would have been nice, but we are going to... I guess switch back to none stance, or regular stance, and go here. This guy could attack us, and you can't reinforce, but Grimgore can. Okay, I'm actually interested to see how they will react to this. I perhaps jumped the gun a little bit, and you might need to heal yourself, but it is what it is. I'm also tempted to send you out here, where we can recruit more Tiger Warriors, potentially. Although it would be nice to get other units. We'll see. Anyway, the rest of this, I believe, is good, at least for now, so I think we're gonna skip. We're gonna check diplomacy real quick. Aha! Northern provinces want to trade, and yes, we do want to trade with you. Like so. And nobody else wants us to trade. Azorn is fine, and the rest of this is fine. Non-aggression pact with the Imperial Wardens, perhaps. Village won't like it, but... free trade agreement as well. Not for long, as they will most likely be destroyed in short order, but it is what it is. Actually, it would be lovely to hold the Great Bastion, because we can hold it much better than the AI can. Maybe I should have waited to try to confederate the Imperial Wardens instead. But I suppose it's also too late for that now. Alright, that looks good to me. Let's end the turn, see if anything happens. Wait, we did send the active caravan out as well. Yes, yes. Alright. End the turn. Let's see how the orcs react to all this. Hopefully what doesn't happen is that these guys go this way. Also, if Zatan is moving towards us, we have a limited time in which to... Well, we just have limited time in which to do stuff. Grimmer is going to go this way, eh? We could probably attempt to trick Mr. Tricky by ambushing him. Would have been nice to heal up, but it is what it is. And what do we have here? Well, we're not paying up. That's for certain. Oh, weapons. I'm going to risk it's probably going to damage us, but this is... I can't do it again. Gonna kill the peasant horsemen or severely damaged? Actually, not so bad. You know what? Heal. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. And, hey, Talyon the Merciless is on field. I want to see what she does. A Drippin' Fangs destroyed, a Something Horn Tribe destroyed. You get the Tax Collector. And a Fuhung Monk. Alright, I'll lose both of those. Then... Okay, yeah, you're on field. Then I would like to get the Tax Collector in your army. I think the Bureaucrat was worth it after all. Anyway, Tax Collector. What is Tea-Master? Control +1. You can stay in that other army. This will come in handy for another army as well. Alright, you're there, and aha. High likelihood that these guys attack the city of Shugengun, in which case we probably shouldn't invest in the defenses. Because it'll get destroyed. Alright, let's see if these guys attack or move past. If they move past, we'll leave it alone. And if they don't, we won't. Alright, let's build the cheap tribal enclave here. Public order isn't a bad way, but it is what it is.
I govern in the Emperor.
Then, oh, I see. You're gonna go this way around to Firemouth, which ain't great. I believe then. All right, I'll have to do this carefully. What do you do? Fueled by vengeance, root out traitors, ruthless standards, upkeep production for Jade Warriors. Aha. Not one step back. Melee defense for Jade Warriors. All right, so we'll definitely do a Jade Warrior sort of thing with you. Now, does any lord specifically buff Jade Warriors? I gotta take a look at the... Oh, again, Vanguard deployment actually is a huge buff to Jade Warriors in a way because they're rather slow, but it depends on whether we want to go artillery heavy. If we go to Armies of Shangyang again, we could spend this to get a Magistrate, but then we'd have basically no Iron Favor left, but I guess we're not like really using it for anything right now. And it'll be a while until we get the Crane Gunners up and running.
They call me the
Either way, I would like you to go into encamp stance. I would like you to take the... well, the crossbows have been quite useful to us for now. Take the Ogre Bulls because they can work his reinforcements fairly quickly. Like so.
Death is the greatest must.
Then...
Desert tigers.
I guess it depends on which army goes which way. We're gonna ambush right here. Try to grab this main army. Then you are going to go into this army. Not so much for the training, but to leech XP until you're ready to, if not quite lead your own army, do a thing. If you're going around to Firemouth, we'll be needing to defend it.
Magistrate reporting.
Bit off a little bit more than we could chew right now, but it is what it is, so you're moving this way. And I guess we'll want to immediately upgrade this as well. Just gotta make sure that we don't go bankrupt, and we should eventually overcome this. Imperial Road in Weijin, you're fine for now, and the defenses at Weijin are heavy enough that we shouldn't need to worry about it. Frankly, the defenses might be not the most necessary here, but we'll see. And we'll hold off on upgrading this, at least for now. Yeah, alrighty. I guess we're ending the turn, and let's see where all of this goes. So skip, and end the turn. Could really use those extra relics and those extra ambushes. Tricky Muckraka, let's see. Moment of Tooth. We did increase our ambush successability by 15%, and again the ambush fails, but they will approach us with Grimgore and with more units while we're damaged. However, if we should win this, this will most likely cripple the enemy faction, assuming that we can chase down most of the enemies, so we'll give it the old college try. Go.
Don't embarrass me, brothers. I expect us to make this look easy.
Alrighty, here we go. I can't wait for the Sawai to lead his own army. I do like the sort of armor that we've got going in here. The black armor was, well, a little too limited, but anyway, I do like the choice of the black armors. It works very nicely with those tiger stripes. Very nice indeed. But anyway, we've got a very tough fight ahead of us by the looks of it. Our main stack is severely damaged, and we are going to be pretty horribly outnumbered. 1.5 stacks to 1, and the enemy undamaged at that. Grimgore has arrived, and now, or well, he's not yet here, but Grimgore is going to reinforce, and he does have his rank 12 now, so his unique line, and presumably his blood-forged armor. Maybe it's the blood-forged armor rather than the unique line that gives him unbreakable, but he does have unbreakable, so that's going to be the issue. Plus our reinforcements, which I'm sure would have been helpful. I mean, I guess technically the main line is reinforcing, but in this particular case, these guys are going to be isolated all the way on the other side of the map, and because of where our own reinforcements are arriving, down this valley here, with being completely blocked off on both sides of the cliff, we can't get to these reinforcements. And that ain't so great. But what can you do? Just going to have to withdraw them off the battlefield if they get rushed by a million enemies. On the bright side, there is a major benefit to this valley here, and that is, of course, that it is a natural choke point. If the enemy wants to move towards us while we take advantage of the heavy armor and sort of line-holding capabilities that the Jade Warriors offer us, well, more power to them, I suppose. And we'll have to wish them luck in doing so. Anyway, that's enough yammering. Let's speed this up while we get into position, and since the enemy's been waiting for their reinforcements, I suppose while they get into position as well. If they want to take that opportunity, though, the Claw Speaker is going to drop the first flock of doom on them, overcast to increase its range, though taking a miscast and dropping dropping HP down to about 50% with change. So great, because we have mana, but we do need the ability to cast. Really got to get that life Claw Speaker, the second Claw Speaker, to heal on the way as fast as possible. Maybe not even for the Tiger Warriors, who are relatively fragile, so much as for the Lord and Heroes, who are also fragile, but by virtue of being single entities, not going to be losing models, right? Anyway, Grimgore is on the way, but he is rather slow with only 32 move speed and tired at that, so he's going to have to move towards us. And the main battle will begin long before he arrives by the looks of it. There we go. Have to stabilize the camera a little bit, slowing it down, as this being a choke point battle, we won't need to go very far. As usual, the enemy will lead with the charges of the squig herds, and Bhashiva will actually move through the ranks of the Jade and Celestial Dragon warriors, or Garden in the last particular case, in order to get behind her battle lines, as she is damaged at this point. The enemy does hit us with a Brain Burst, but not doing too much damage to the Celestial Dragon Guard, who begin to hold, while the crossbows continue, or at least begin rather, pincushioning the enemy. The first target will be the enemy Error Boys. Our armor is relatively low on the Tiger Warriors, and while they do have physical resistance, their missile resistance is also non-existent, so there is no reason to allow the enemy Error Boys or Gob Archers, whatever range units the enemy has brought, to pincushion them. If the enemy wants to blow up in this relatively wide choke point, it will still allow us to hit them with repeated flocks of doom as we fight, at least for as long as or the Claw Speaker rather, can continue without miscasting. A Black Orc Big Boss has led the charge, but Bhashiva will target the Black Orc Big Boss herself and debuff him significantly. And together with the help of let's see, what was that ability called? Okay, well, Bhashiva's nearly defeated Black Orc Big Boss, and I can't select Tao Yan, unfortunately. Tyrant's Talon, Imbuement Brutal Wounds. It causes melee defense and damage per second, which is rather nice. Anyway, Bhashiva has, in the meantime, became extremely glowy. I take it that's a graphical bug. I wonder if it'll disappear or she's just stuck being super glowy for the rest of the battle. Kind of interesting, if nothing else. She turned into a tiger spirit. Every day we get closer to Kung Fu Panda. Anyway, the two Black Orc Big Bosses were defeated, one by Tao Yang and one by Bhashiva, but there is another one, and a Black Orc Big Boss and Grimgore on the way, and two great shamans at that. In the meantime, however, over on the other side of the battle, we've got, or battlefield rather, we've got a mini skirmish, 4 units versus 4 units, counting our Lord. We'll see who can carry the day. Our bandits of the Silver Road are up on the hill firing their fire weakness causing arrows at the enemy, but it does look like the enemy will charge them with the Snotling pump wagons after taking about half of their HP and damage. The Squig Herd is nearly destroyed, having smashed into our lines of spears and the single unit of Ogre Bulls, which I guess it was an advantage to have moved into this army, since it's working reasonably well for us here. Now that said, there is still a unit of Orc Biggins and regular boys to work our way through, and that's going to be much slower, even once the Squig Herds and the pump wagons are out of the picture. In the meantime, the main line is still very much in the fight, and this time the Empress Crowmen add their bombs to the main line, and doing a ton of damage while losing a few of the Crowmen at 251 kills and 32k. It's a pretty solid ability in this particular case. Ooh, nice execution of an infantryman from one of our ogre bulls. And once again, I would love to see some execution animations from Bhashiva, but she is too hurt and probably too wary of Grimgore at this point. And though speaking of, Grimgore is trapped in the midst of the frame. Bhashiva will go after either another goblin big boss or, nope, a third black orc big boss as well, with a little bit of help from Taoyan, who's in here somewhere, but kind of hard to tell. Still, this is a decently long brawl, certainly longer than we'd usually expect from vanilla. This is like an SFO level brawl, at least in terms of length. And I do appreciate it. The battle line as yet holds, that we have started to rotate troops out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, counting the Empress Crowman units, and counting 2 heroes. Both Taoyan and the Claw Speaker are now 2 damage to contribute, as are these 4 mainline units. And then another 1, 2, 3 mainline units are on the verge of collapse and down to about 10% or maybe 15% of their HP as well. So they will start withdrawing in short order. On the bright side, the enemy is continuing to be cut down, and we can see those numbers of green skins continue to drop. And the longer the battle lasts, the more flux of doom and Visen's wild forms we will risk on casting upon ourselves. A couple more miscasts on the Claw Speaker will unfortunately kill said Claw Speaker, so we do have to be careful. But nonetheless, you gotta risky to get the bisky. And in the meantime, the enemy range units have been defeated by our Jade Warrior crossbows, who have outshot them at this point. And speaking of defeated, it looks like our Sawai, what was your name again? Gandhari, has defeated the 4 enemy units over on this side of the map pretty handily, I would say, and getting 42 kills personally. Pretty darn nice. I expect great things from Gandhari here, and I can't wait to build them some of those more elite Tigermen units to buff up. Otherwise, the bounce power is in our favor, but Grimgore has only just arrived. Well, maybe not just arrived, and he's still at 95% of his HP. The main issue is now that Taoyan and Bhashiva are too badly beat up to actually attack Grimgore, so we're going to have to kill him by other means. On the bright side, Bhashiva does cut down the Goblin Big Boss, leaving only Grimgore and the Savage Orc Great Shamans, the both of them, on field, while some of our healthier Tigermen units will begin chasing down enemies and making sure that they can't get out of there. After all, the enemy did attack us, and the more enemies that survive, the more that we have to fight again next turn. Fortunately, once again, the Tigermen are pretty darn quick and should be able to chase the most of them down. At the very least, most of the infantry. In the meantime, we do still have those darn units of Savage Orc Great Shamans. We're ignoring Grimgore. Well, let's make sure we bring this, the Shamans down. So, once again, we will charge the Shamans with a unit of Tigermen, and as soon as they close the distance, the Shaman will immediately pop off a Brain Burst, severely damaging them even further, but only doing so just as he shatters, which means Bhashiva should be able to hunt him down. He's certainly not escaping that. All this sort of running around the enemy lord like this reminds me of Fast Thorgrim from the Thorgrim campaign. This is funny, but Bhashiva is a fast lord already. It's a lot more funny when Thorgrim's doing it with his with his shield bearers and his palanquin there. But anyway, everything but Grimgore has broken, but now Grimgore has Unbreakable and has his blood-forged armor, which buffs him and gives him that explosion ability around him, which will allow him to mince troops like so. Alrighty, so now the question is going to be, can we bring down Grimgore with what we have left? On the bright side, since on the other side of the map, the Sawai Gandhari, I remember the name this time, did win, he will be able to move towards Grimgore with nearly full HP, or at the very least 80% of his HP, and the unit of the Bandits of the Silver Road with a decent little bit of ammunition. Unlike the first time we fought Grimgore, we can't force him to flee by destroying his army. And while I would have been hoping to pincushion him, unfortunately almost all of our crossbows are completely out of ammunition at this point. And maybe we'll have to leave it to the Bandits of the Silver Road and to Gandari to deal with this. Because Grimgore ain't going down easy. He's at 142 kills now at 55% of his HP and 15k damage, still taking the occasional arrow. Grimgore, of course, doesn't wear a helmet, but, you know, that just makes you about 10 times tankier in Warhammer. Still, I do enjoy the idea of arrows just sort of like thunking into his skull or just thunking off his skull. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe they wouldn't find too much purchase there. Funnily enough, as he gets pincushioned, we see many bolts sticking out of his armor, but none out of his head. Now that I think about it, regardless of how tough his skull is, a couple of arrows to the eyes and he's probably not going to be that effective of a fighter anymore. But I digress. Still at 50% HP and still cutting down those poor Jade Warrior crossbows this time. As you can probably tell, we've run out of regular Jade Warriors to send at this guy, and so now we will have to feed him Jade Warrior crossbows without armor, while we wait for the arrival of the additional units, and while we chase down the rest of the enemy all over the map, though, by the looks of it, they're nearly out of the picture now. And there's yet another Bloodforged armor, up to 188 kills, 17k damage, and he's still very much in the fight. Alright, I think we've seen enough of that. Let's just speed this along a teensy bit. He's going to activate Gitsnik and drop down to 25% of his HP. And Bhashiva moves in. We also set him on fire as the Bandits of the Silver Road arrive and add their ammunition to this. Hey, don't waste ammunition. Actually fire at Grimgore. And frankly, you're probably going to kill off a few of the Tigermen here, but that's just life. Anyway, we do have that Hidden Huntress upgraded to debuff Grimgore's melee defense down to a mere 10 and lower his armor by 30. Frankly, that's not going to be all that much, but it should be enough, by the looks of it, to at long last bring Big Boy down. Good lord, Grimgore seems to have fought by himself just as long as the rest of his entire army fought, and certainly a credit to him. But it's certainly also a credit to us for managing to carry the day. Ooh, good lord, what a magnificent fight so early in the campaign as well. Grimgore was an absolute monster, just impossible to bring down as he just reached rank 12 to get him unbreakable just as they attacked us here, just as we reached rank 12. Was an amazing showdown. Our Tiger Warriors unfortunately couldn't make a good use of their flanking capabilities as we had to hold ground in the valley in which we appeared on the map. Great work out of Gandari and this little sort of contingent of troops that he had with him, as they really helped out and, you know, fought their own little mini fight, their skirmish on the other side of the map, and carried the day there, just as Bhashiva carried the day on her side. Absolutely fantastic. Everybody worked, everybody took damage. It was close call all around, close calls all around. Magnificent fight. Wow. Anyway, we will take the money, I guess, because we could only heal this little army, and that unfortunately doesn't matter much, so we'll pardon the captives. Unfortunately, we'll kill off Tricky Muckrake, but the problem is we're so damaged we most likely won't be able to take Karak Vrag now. On bright side, Gandari, and certainly he's earned it, has gotten that trait now. And hello. 3 Nobbler scrap launchers, really, 3. And 3 man-eaters? How did this become so many more troops all of a sudden? Like, that's a lot more troops. I wish I remembered which army this was. If this is the army that has to travel for another, like, 13 turns or something, or 12 turns, or whatever the long traveling army, then this one really shouldn't take the massive amount of damage from all this. Almost tempted to destroy the peasant archers. It is only one peasant archer unit. It's a little bit unfortunate. I'd say it's fairly unfortunate. Again, I really... They redesigned some of the stuff in this, and they did not help with the UX here, or the UI and the UX, and tell me how many more turns does this caravan have to travel, because I don't know, and there's no way to get out of this, and the way that we decide this completely depends on this. We can win, but we could take severe damage doing so. The Nobblers aren't really a threat. The scrap launchers, yeah, I can't risk it if this is the long traveling caravan. I'm gonna have to try to remember. Abhishek, we'll see you afterwards. Feeding time. Just give them a unit of archers. And what the heck is this? Quest battle? Yes. Alrighty, that's the second quest battle as we loved. Ooh, oh wow, oh my. Crushers, reinforcements, Thunder Tusk, Stonehorn. Oh, that's going to get. We're gonna need a few more units to fight that, but that looks pretty darn fun. Ambush foiled, yeah, thanks game. Enemy killed in battle, enemy killed in battle, enemy killed in battle, Grimgore defeated. The Eye of the Watcher is upon you. Kill 1,500 enemies. You know what? That would have been really nice before we, before we just killed like 1 million of them. Just game. Obnoxious. Actually, convoy check. Yeah, Abhishek has got 7 more turns to travel. Yeah, that was the right decision. And if I had known that he had 7 more turns to travel, that is exactly the choice I would have made. So we're good where we are. Ooh, what a fight! What the heck? Why are you zooming in here? Armies of Shangyang. What do you want? Defeat Deathmaster Snitch. That's not happening right now. I really should have accepted those Grimgore ones before they went away. Granted, they weren't very good. At least we were holding on to this one. And we have this mission. There used to be 3. I assume another one will appear. We can always cancel this depending on how long it's going to take us to go south, which, admittedly, it might take us a fair bit. Also, magical damage is at tier 3. Also, just out of curiosity, are we able to redo the insignias? Cannot upgrade, you do not have the required resources. Oh, I'm aware. Attain this insignia and... 1. Number of selected units in this category. Units can equip 1 insignia at a time. Does the insignia disappear if we re-equip an insignia? I don't know. But it does seem that they can re-equip, which means we should probably temporarily, at least, grab the range insignia from Desert Tigress insignia. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll give it to all y'all. Like... so. 18 and 6. Yeah, that is indeed a weapon strength, not a missile. Okay, fair enough. But the extra range will be helpful. Next up.
Lord Magistrate.
I was sending you around to Firemouth with the assumption that the enemy was going to go around this way. Oh, wow, they could attend... oh, no, wait. Do we have it here at Blackfang? That's not very well defended, but... if we kill you, maybe we can push Gandhari to take this so that the caravan doesn't get damaged by traveling through this territory. Yeah, this is the danger of fighting Grimgore right now, that our caravans get obliterated. Also, building. Do we have anything? By the looks of it, no, and we're still suffering that Confederation debuff. We get 1 more turn with the +6, that's saving us, but it'll be gone next turn. And we're just gonna have to deal. Might also want to grab those Tiger Warrior Stalkers. At least a couple of them. Ooh, and another Claw Speaker. Specifically, Claw Speaker of Life would have been amazing in that particular battle. You guys surprisingly didn't attack. Huh. Alright, I'm willing to invest in the defenses of the city of the Shogungan right now. While the Dragon-Blooded Shogungan is gonna sit in Wei Jin for now as well. The rest of us looks okay. Diplomacy.
What?
Not trade.
Aye.
Tusked Sons. They're fighting the Heralds of the Tempest, who, as soon as they wipe them out, will probably go towards us. We're gonna ignore those for now. Okay, so there's nothing there, so that means...
The dragon-blooded.
unless we want to move you somewhere. I wonder if Zatan's on the way. He probably very much is. I don't see military presence here, which is actually somewhat concerning. He's not at war with anybody but us, and he's strength rank 28. Our strengthening has been reduced by virtue of the damage we took there. Which, you know, again, fair enough. Alright, well, let's level up and then let's head on in again. Missile resistance, hard to hit. We should get the high ranks on our Tigermen fairly quickly, but we don't have them as yet, and therefore maybe we can forego going too deep into the red line for now. Especially as we don't have too many units other than those Tigermen. So I'm gonna say let's go for hard to hit. We could use the additional fighting capabilities for Bhashiva herself. You. Saoyan, at rank 12 you get your unique line. I do like the enemy leadership reduction. We could maybe stack that with a few other things. I swear there was a lord that had leadership reduction as well. Or maybe combine that, especially if it's a lord that leads the Jade Warriors. But anyway, Blade Master, I think for you, you could probably use the defense, or we could go for training. Well, we'll probably do training anyway. I just gotta make sure to start saving points at rank 6. And then you. Your Replenish Troops is maxed out, which is the main thing. We do cast Flock of Doom and Vision's Wild Form pretty much constantly, so let's get those maxed out. You will then kill what remains of this. Hopefully it's resolvable, but we'll see. Okay, nobody will die. Hopefully it doesn't do too much damage. Don't screw us on this game. Why did it hurt? Okay, well, whatever. We'll take the slight amount of healing. I just really didn't want to waste the time dealing with that. Man, what a fight. And then you, Gandari. We will move you to Black Fang. We will then, with the caravan, be able to attack this in theory, but let's move Bhashiva in to reinforce. She can't reach this unless she's in march stance, but that's fine. Like so. And can we risk the caravan? Oh, no, it'll kill both of our heroes. Alright, I guess we could fight a little bit more in the way of orcs. Just a real quick one. Nothing wrong with a quickie. Laneshi giggle. Plus I guess it's probably a good idea to preserve the caravan. That's alright, fine, fair enough. Do we just manually fight this? Well, then again, if we don't use a lot of these guys, it might be worthy of a very quick cinematic. Yeah, why not?
Do not embarrass me, brothers. I expect us to make this look easy.
Alright, here we go. You know, I really like the sort of guttural voices of the Sawai and their speeches, minus the fact that I cannot for the life of me tell what the heck they are saying. I gotta max out my volume next time I hear one of their pre-battle speeches just to try to make it out. But anyway, this should be a quick little fight. We are just here mostly to preserve both the remaining units in Bhashiva's insanely damaged army, as well as make sure that our caravan doesn't take further damage, because it's got a, well, it's got a heck of a long trip ahead of it. Also, we'll probably try to set up here in the light so that we can actually see our units fighting. The shadowed maps and are a little bit annoying to, well, you know, see anything, and if the AI wants to give us the opportunity to set up wherever we want, it'll certainly be where we can see the fight actually happening. I also do note that these reinforcing army does have some Tiger Warrior Stalkers. And once again, I'm excited to make use of some of these guys. Might actually put them in... Since they don't get direct buffs from the Sawai Lord, I'm wondering whether we could put them into our army with the Jade Warriors that Taoyana is going to be in. Might actually be a decent idea there. We'll see. Anyway, we move everybody that we are free to take damage on towards the light, and in the meantime, set our first little unit of gyrocopters to annoy the enemy. A little bit odd of a unit, perhaps, to be in a Cathayan army. But the Dwarven units do mix nicely with the Cathay roster, very nicely in fact, just like they do with the Imperial roster, so yeah. Anyway, we will start by annoying the enemy Orc boys until they move towards our army. Frankly, it's not as effective firing upon them here as it is upon the Goblins with spears by the looks of it. There we go. Alright, nice little volley, but frankly, it doesn't really matter who we damage. What does matter is annoying the enemy army into moving towards us, and eventually setting up bomb drops on the enemy range units, as they're the enemy most likely to actually damage us. As we do have a decent pile of range units in our army, and hopefully just by annoying the enemy, we will just be able to pincushion them all as they arrive. Again, it's just a small battle, so frankly an inconsequential one, but if we screw up and lose units, it'll be unfortunate. Anyway, looks like that is sufficient. The first enemy units are annoyed. This poor little gob troop is going to have a pretty bad day. And frankly, the same is probably going to be said of those Orc boar boys, who are now heading towards the light, and perhaps they should have stayed in the shadows, though our fiery arrows are going to light them up a little bit. They will accelerate into the charge towards our units and send a few of those Jade Warriors flying back, but they took about 50% of their damage before they got here. And, in fact, should have actually stayed in combat rather than backing off in this manner, as backing off will just get you targeted again by the range units. On the other hand, it looks like the range units were too slow to switch to them. I spoke too soon, perhaps, and these guys do charge back in, but into the waiting halberds of the Jade Warriors, who cut them down with gusto. Lovely. I also know that we're not capable of building Jianglu war drums, and we could really use those. Major reason to always ally with Cathay is to get those war drums, and, well, we should probably try to pick one up. Maybe from allied units. I assume we can get some war drums just from the missions from Jiao Ming. But we probably can't rely on them for a decent amount of them, and frankly, the same thing for the Jade and Jet Lions as well. As by the looks of it, the Lions are also another unit like the war drum that we can't directly build, so I'm just gonna have to be careful about it. Anyway, Orc boys are moved towards us, but they break under fire from the range units. Our unit of gyrocopters has been doing pretty well, up to 11k damage so far, and having cleared out a fair few of the enemy, while dodging arrows from the rest. Actually, it looks like the enemy army has been split in half, interestingly enough, and on a good way. And now the rest of them are moving towards us, but that does allow us to sort of split our fire between different units instead of the AI getting critical mass on their sheer number. Still, I gotta admire the fact that the AI seems to keep advancing with its units under the cover of the canopy here, such that a lot of our range fire does get blocked by the tree line. Good for them. If we were willing to take more damage on our already damaged units here, however, the enemy would just meet a bunch of Tiger Warriors in the woods there, and they would tear them to shreds. Actually, out of curiosity, wait, we'll drop a Searing Doom on these guys real quick if they want to chase our poor peasant. I just want to see something about the Tiger Warriors, if I can select the unit here. They don't have woodsmen. Okay, I was just curious about Bandits of the Silver Road, though. But nonetheless, I do like seeing them fight in the trees. They are a type of beast man, after all. Anyway, looks like some of the enemy Orc boys have made their way forward towards, once again, those Jade Warrior halberds, but between the 90 armor, 100 armor actually, and the 60 melee defense, these guys should be able to hold just fine. Where are they getting the bonus 10 armor from? Defensive stance, enabled if not moving. Aha, okay, that's where that's from. Fair enough. Well then, no need to move, just sit there and stay very heavily armored, almost Chaos Warrior level. And while we don't expect them to dish out much damage, we've got Searing Dooms coming down upon the enemy with those crossbow bolts and arrow fire from the Bandits of the Silver Road, although they are now focusing down the enemy Lord, who is in pretty bad shape, down to 0 armor from the Plague of Rust and about 40% of his HP. Certainly want that great shaman out of the picture before he can cast any more of those brain burstas of his. Anyway, it looks like the shaman will shatter, and with him the rest of this little army as we hold ground and as we don't take too much unnecessary damage to any unit. I don't know what the auto resolve would have done. Could it have been a not so bad, but it was certainly not one I was willing to risk after all that stuff with Grimgore. Alright, there we go. Quick little fight, preserved our units and didn't take damage on the caravan. I think this unit was already damaged, so we're more or less fine. And frankly, I think it was the right decision to do that little fight cinematically, just because it actually took a while to just, you know, take all these units and sort them into who fights and who doesn't, and then put them where they need to go. So, we're good, is what I'm saying. Occupy the place, and Orc's Bane. Hey, a free Warrior Bane. Nice, you can hold on to that. And I guess the Trickster Shard can go to you, at least for now. And, oh, wait, we completed the quest for the Blades of Shangyang? I didn't even realize. Whoops, I had thought that... Huh. How did we complete this? Huh, well, that's when we completed it. Long has the White Tiger and her retinue been in service to Grand Cathay. So long, in fact, that much of her personal armory are awards and gifts bestowed by the dragons themselves. Yet the Iron Dragon himself saves the greatest gifts for those who serve him personally, such as the ornate set of Katara of his renowned collection known as the Blades of Shangyang. They eternally burn, seemingly without source, with power granted by the Iron Dragon's strange alchemy. The flame's ferocity is mirrored in the nature of the Tiger Warriors, but it will not be granted to their great leader until that ferocity is proven once more against those seeking to provoke disharmony across the land. A little bit of cash out of it. Lovely. Alright, well, by the looks of it, we've earned some good stuff here, and we will decently well heal up and head to Karak Vrag or whatever other territories belong to Grimgore. He went from a very powerful faction from strength rank, I don't know, pretty up there, 12 I think it was, to strength rank 177, so he is certainly lost a lot of his strength, and didn't even have the chance to call a Wa, though admittedly we only won the major battle here against his forces by a hair's breadth, or by a whisker, perhaps I should say. Close fight, great fight, and I think a good sign, good omen for greater things to come. That said, we're out of time, and I'm calling it here. Next time we destroy Grimgore for good, most likely get our first fight against the Chaos Dwarfs, as I imagine Zatan is pushing southwards and is unlikely to be friends with us, and we'll just continue keeping an eye on Goldtooth while we continue trying to build up our economy to get more armies up and running, especially one led by, well, sort of led by Tao Yan. I still think that they should make it so that heroes are convertible into lords, but anyway, especially legendary heroes. But anyway, more to come. Stay tuned. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.